Hi there YouTube, this is Mike from We Build Stuff, and today I'm going to be starting on part 1 of a series of building a 7-string electric guitar. Now this is my third build. I've built 2 prior to that, therefore the third. And to be a little bit different from this, I wanted something with 7 strings. Why 7 strings? You only get 5 extra notes, because I like to challenge myself. Now in this build I'm going to be showing you every step, literally every step, every time I change a screwdriver, every step for this build, so that if you feel like following along and you have similar tools or you plan on trying to attempt a project like this, you'll at least see me make some mistakes or do some good things and you can copy it. I'm going to be doing a couple different versions of the videos. There's going to be some long form ones that are a bit more, I'm not even going to say instructional, but again, more of a build log of how I did it, or there'll be some other short ones with compilations. Let's take a look at some of the parts that I've already got for this 7-string build. Now already I've started gathering parts to make this thing happen. I'm going to start off with a Black Tusk XL nut by Graphtec. These are made in Canada, and actually near where my old hometown used to be. I just got this one in the mail yesterday, and this one is for 7 strings. It's already pre-slotted. I still have some customization to do, but we get there. And this is basically a drop-in for a lot of Schecter type ones. Got some things there. Wow, look at all that stuff. Don't worry, I will link the names for these parts if you're interested. The next thing working our way down, because I don't have my tuners yet, is going to be what is inside the neck of the guitar. I've got a 2-way truss rod here. Let's stick it that way because that's how I'm going to do it. And I have some stiffening rods. Now, why am I using stiffening rods? It's just a guitar. Usually a truss rod is okay. Well, they didn't cost much and I wanted to give these a try. These are going to be installed next to the truss rod in their own slots to help it be a little bit stiffer. I don't want my wood to start going noodly either way. This is going to help for that. Because it's a 7-string, there's going to be more tension from the neck down to the body and the bridge. By having some stiffening rods in there, it should help keep the wood flatter. I'm not going to be doing a 25.5 scale like my previous build, Telecaster, Fender style scale length. I'm going to be doing a 26.5, which is just kind of on the start of a baritone. Now, because it's a baritone and because it's 7 strings and all these things, I need 7-string pickups. Here I have some DiMarzio PAF 7s. I think that's what they're called. These are some older ones. I got these donated / I paid a little bit for them from a friend. And now, in order to make 7 strings fit on this guitar, I'm also going to need a 7-string bridge. Now, I haven't used a Tune-o-matic Nashville-style bridge on any of my builds before. I was hesitant on this as it's going to be a little bit more complicated. Well, why would that be more complicated? Now, if you look at the original plans for a 1958 Explorer, because that's the body style I want to do, they've got these Tune-o-matic bridges instead of the Fender hardtail. If you look closely at this, you can see that there's an angle going from here to where it meets the body. That angle is roughly 2 degrees. Close-up view of that, and there's 2 degrees for this 1958. It means that the joint where the neck heel meets this part of the body, that pocket, there needs to be an angle cut in either the neck or in the body. Either one works depending on the way you're building it. That's a little bit more complicated, so I've been kind of shying away from that. So I've designed a couple different ones. My first design here, I drew this out for my main neck, is flat. Now, if I want to go on an angle, well, I'm still deciding, am I going to do 2 or 3 degrees? Now, I drew all these. What program did I use for this? I used a mixture of AutoCAD and Adobe Illustrator, and I've gone and started drawing to plan out my build. The more planning I do, the less guesswork I'll have later. Regardless of what I do, whether it's a flat heel, 3 degree, or 2 degree, I'm going to be able to take these shapes and turn them into templates for my build. I'm planning out every single step, headstock, even the angle of the strings where they attach to the headstock, where all my frets are going because I'm building my own neck, where on the body is the neck going to go, where's my pickup pockets going to be, where is my electronic routing going to be. I still have to design that whole shape there. I've got a jig there, planning out my neck, all these things. What else am I trying to figure out? Where's the empty parts of the project going to be so I can make this a semi-hollow body? Because an Explorer guitar, well, they're pretty heavy. Now, another consideration that I'm having is the Gibson style, again, the 1958 Explorer or their Les Pauls, they have this pretty intense headstock angle. The way that they make theirs is out of one solid piece of wood. It's all carved out, they carve out the angle and all that, and this can be a weak point that can cause issues. Now, it doesn't happen to every Gibson, but there are reports of this happening on some. I've linked a website here in my blog for those who want to read it. A way to get around that is by doing a scarf joint. That's a little bit trickier, and I don't think I'm ready for that with this build. So what I'm going to be doing, aside from the standard fender style, I'm going to be doing, instead of a 14 degree, I'm going to do roughly a 4 degree angle when I do mine. So again, I'm planning out everything. Now, what's with all these funny colors? This gray, that's going to represent the wood that I'm using for my neck. That's going to be my nut, that little green thing. Red is going to represent my fingerboard, which is going to be about 1/4 of an inch thick. And that blue is my truss rod. Now, I'm documenting everything before I've even started the build. Where is every fret going to go for the scale length? There's the old Gibson style, which I believe is a 24.75 inch. And I'm kind of basing it off some of these old original plans. We'll put my own spice on it. To get an idea for the kind of headstock that I wanted, because I'm not a fan of the hockey stick, I found these free set of plans. This is for the Black Machine B7. Now, I've gone and taken their idea and I've modified it to fit my own, but that is available as a free download. And I've taken those ideas and turned them into templates. Now, this is just on the computer. How on earth am I going to get my computer drawings onto wood or whatever I want to make for my templates? Well, I used a laser. Now, that process of making all those parts, you'll see later in a whole other video. My laser is only 24 inch by 12. Aren't I lucky to have anything at all? You could also just print this out, glue it onto your wood, and then cut it out with a jigsaw and take your time. But I've had to separate these body parts to make them fit. The neck is in 2 pieces. This is going to be in 1 piece. My actual body's in 2. Well, let's go take a look what that looks like in real. So aside from having my parts, I'm planning all my router templates. I've created this one, again, with the 26.5 inch scale length. This line represents where the nut is going to start. It's going to lay on this side of the line. I've got a center line to help me figure that out. And this is going to be getting installed about here. There's going to be roughly 2 millimeters to 1/8 of an inch. I've planned for that, just because I've seen that in other Gibson builds, so that when I put my pocket in, it'll fit perfectly. This thing goes on a very slight angle outwards, and I've made it from about here forward straight, so it almost acts like a dovetail. Well, I don't see that part. That's because I've got it right here. This template will allow that to fit perfectly, and you can see that it is able to pull it a little bit. It's a little bit of squish because it's soft MDF, but that isn't going to be able to go any further. So that is going to help me get a nicely aligned neck pocket. I'm going to be gluing it into the actual neck again with about a 2 millimeter gap, and I'm going to have a jig for that. The actual Explorer, it's not going to have these big holes in it. We got spots for my pickups. This line represents the end of the scale length. Again, that is going to be 26.5. The 26.5 number is measured from the nut to where the bridge is going to be installed. Now, the bridge is going to look something like that. I'll figure out my exact spacing later. I may end up having to make this cavity smaller. Cavity? I've never had one of those, but in this case, it's so that I can make a hollow body, laminate it. You'll never know that it's hollow, but to cut down on weight. So that's going to go here. Then I'll have to route out part of the neck for a pickup, bridge pickup. This is just because maybe I can get some more weight gone here, more weight. This is going to be for a switch. Now, I haven't decided yet if I'm going to be putting my switch here or down there, but either way, I'm going to have it planned for that. That's going to be a 3-way switch, kind of Gibson style. It's a switch between pickups. I wouldn't mind getting a 5 so I can take advantage of the humbuckers. And here's where some of my electronics are going to go. So I've got some volume pots, and I've got these for my tone. I think maybe it's one or the other. Either way. And then the output jack, I'm either going to have it here or coming straight off. I think I'm going to have it come out the back of the body. Overall, this thing is coming together. Now, what's that thing over there? This is going to be my template to create my fingerboard. Now, it's a little bit wider. Well, there's a reason for that. Each of these slots, which has been professionally spaced and carved, and there's a whole nother video for that, it's going to go down there, pop in, and on the other side is going to be my fingerboard temporarily glued down by using painter's tape and some CA glue. And then I can use this and locate, do a little cut move it over to the next one. You'll see how each of those go there. Make sure that stays nice and tight. That slides down there. Do a cut, pick it up, do it again. And it goes over and over for all 24 frets for this 26.5 scale length. Tools that I'll be using for this build, I'm going to do my best not to use the giant tools like table saws and stuff, because not everybody has that at home. I'm going to do my best to make most of this realistic. Will I use the table saw, jointer, and bandsaw and thickness planer? Yes, of course I will, because I have access to it. But there's plenty of videos showing people doing this by hand. The main tool that I'm going to be using a lot is going to be my plunge router, and I have a variety of bits that I'll be using. If you notice, a lot of them have this little bearing on there. Well, what's the purpose of that bearing? That's going to run along my router. So that bearing will be able to run along my router template, and whatever's down here, probably a big bare piece of wood, is going to get chunked and cut up and gone so that it's nice and smooth in the shape I want. Okay, routers, there's lots of stuff for that. Just last night I created this. This is a fret press insert. This is going to be a caul. When I put them together, and in this miniature 1-ton arbor press, I'm going to be able to use this to press frets into my neck. Now the caul that I have in here right now, that's for a 10-inch radius for a previous guitar. And my plan for this one is to do a 16-inch radius. This is going to be a sanding block. I'm going to attach sandpaper to it and run that up and down on the neck to get that specific radius. Now that radius I said was a 16. I've designed this one. I may need to do another one. Printed this last night on my 3D printer. And that should be a good match. Look, I even put 16. This file is modified from a free one that I found on Thingiverse, and I created this to fit my fret press caul. Now all these other tools, some of them are homemade. So literally a 2x4 with a file in it. I use that for the neck. I've got some rasps for carving. I've got my fret file. I use that for checking that my string height, no, which one's this? Neck straight tool. Yes, that's the one. I got that on Amazon. I bought this for $10 and then ground the front of it flat. That's going to be for snipping frets. And then a whole bunch of other stuff that I kind of just have random and in a box. I'm very excited for this build. So will you come with me on this journey to create a 7-string Explorer style guitar? I hope so. I think it's going to be pretty cool. This is still just the planning. I need to go buy wood. I think I'm going to be doing maple for most of the neck. Probably maple and mahogany for the body. I haven't decided yet. I got to see what I can find locally. And a fingerboard is either going to be maple or rosewood. I'm excited. Are you excited? I hope you're excited. I am not a professional luthier. I'm just a high school shop teacher who tries to keep inventing new ways to keep kids engaged with projects. What better way to make a cool project than to have something that also sounds really loud, more than the rest of the shop in here. Anyways, I hope you can follow along with this. Stay posted, stay tuned, stay here for me. Leave some comments. Do you have ideas? How would you design your own 7-string electric guitar? Because I'm excited for this thing. It's going to be big. I'm going to need my own custom size case for this thing because it's not going to fit a standard one. That's a whole nother part. We'll see how many videos this series ends up being. I know this is a long one. This is me a lot of talking and stuff, but if you're excited and you're trying to learn how to build your own electric guitar, this might be a fun one to follow. I'd never done this 2-3 years ago, and then I've already built 2. They work great. The last one I 100% did myself. I didn't take it to a luthier for a setup or anything, and it plays pretty nice. If you want to check out my other builds, whether it's shop stuff, car stuff, or my other guitar where I built a maple Telecaster, I'd invite you to check that down. You can find my links down below for that. I've got websites documenting most of it. Now, I hope you have a great day. Hope you're hanging in there. Hope you're living life to the fullest. Have a good one. Goodbye.